Alright everyone, match rating time. Um, and the first ones I found was This Is Anfield, so I'm going to go with theirs. And we'll start off with Kelleher. They gave him 8 out of 10. And they say here, he mustn't know where he's coming and going. His situation as number 2 must be one of the weirdest in world football. They say he's plenty good enough to be a Premier League number 1. Yet he deputises for arguably the best stopper in the world, who also happens to be absent in an inordinate amount. That's something I've noticed. Alisson's injuries aren't great at the moment. And I think the only occasion where he had to really deal with anything, even one-on-one, was Beto. And Virgil van Dijk messed up. He literally kicked thin air and Beto got through and hit the post. They gave him 8 out of 10. I'd say 7 or 8 is fair. He didn't really have much to do. Curtis Jones, 8. He's literally had to fill Trent's boots, as they say. Slot wanted a high work rate on the flank and composed footwork and creative passing. And they've got here, and I've done a video on him specifically at right back, and say he hooked an absolutely horrible cross out of danger. And they gave him an 8. Do you know what? I agree with that. Canate, 6. And I mentioned about a couple of hopeful through balls that caught him a bit. And the communication with Van Dijk on the Beto chance, which hit the post. So he started off brightly, lost his way, and then improved, and they've given them a 6. You know what? I'd give him a 7. They've given Virgil van Dijk a 6. And I would give him a 7. And the reason he gets a 7 is he's normally so composed, and a composed Van Dijk doesn't kick the air and let strikers clean through. Andy Robertson they gave a 7. I must admit, there's one line in here I found really funny. Must have felt he was working in the crash with the amount he had to deal with whinging opponents. And they say he dealt with everything with a cool head. Do you know what? I don't think he put a foot wrong. I thought he looked composed. He looked lively going forward. I don't think he was ever once really caught out. I'd say 7 or 8. I can't decide. Grav. They've given him an 8. And they said he needed a rest. And he did. And what we saw, he looked much more the Grav we've seen. He had a shot at goal which was deflected straight into Pickford's hand. They give him an 8. I would say that's fair. McAllister, 8. And he said he was extremely lucky to retain working knee ligaments. And I love the also line here, when Duncan Ferguson labels a challenge an immediate red card, you know it's a bad one. For the younger viewers who really know what Duncan Ferguson was like. He was very, very physical. He was an old school striker. Now, I like Duncan Ferguson, actually. He comes across as a good, knowledgeable person. They say here, pulled strings as legs grew tired and showed James Garner what a proper midfielder looks like. Yeah, Maka has been fantastic. So I'd say 8 would be deserved. Dom, they've given a 7. I'd say 7 would be fair, because normally at the start of this year, like January, he was controlling games more. We didn't say that here. Mo gets a 7. He didn't offer as much, but to be fair, a lot of the action was down our left hand side. They've given 8 man of the match to Luis Diaz. And they say here, it took very little time to clock that Jacob Bryant couldn't lay a glove of him on the flank, and that was pretty much accurate. He, full of energy, really up for it. He was on fire. He gave Jacob Bryant a torrid evening. But there was a couple of challenges on him, and I've mentioned here as well, and he thought he should have had a free kick, and I thought he should have as well. There was some really strange decisions from Sam Barrett, or whatever you call him. They've called him Parrot here, because his name was Sam Barrett. And he came off towards the end for Cody Gakpo, but we started to see the Luis Diaz we know he can be tonight. He was absolutely fantastic. Man of the match, yeah, he was sensational, was there? Good old Lucho. Absolutely fantastic. Then they've got here Jota, 8. Yeah. And I've seen Jota play better. But he needed that goal. He really needed that goal. There was a couple of times he just was off that final pass, or just off that ball. There was one which I think Tarkowski cleared in the first half, and he was just a second off. But that goal, it's literally dropping the shoulders. I think he was between like 2 or 3 defenders on the way. It was a really good finish, really calmly taken. He should be proud of that goal. He came off towards the end, but I think his job was done. Now they've brought the subs here. I'll start with Cody Gakpo. 86 minutes. They've given him a 6. I can't really criticise that because I don't think he really did much. Endo, 7. You know what? I'm going to give him 8. Because he gave the threat of a bit of more bite in that midfield. He added a bit more security. Nunes, 7. And the last line of this, I say 7's fair. I mean, the fact I should read the entire thing here. They said, made a point of getting heavily invested in the Derby atmosphere. Yep. Ran like a dog and clattered into Pickford when one-on-one despite hearing the whistle go. Only Darwin Núñez, I don't know if he heard the whistle though. But I'd literally walked out the room to get something. And I walked back in, I saw Núñez on a heap on the pitch, so I didn't actually see that moment. I literally walked out for a minute. Ran down a few minutes after and swore profusely at the incompetent ref. Competent wouldn't be what I would call. I would say fucking shit. That was my view of the ref. But it's these last 4 words describe Núñez brilliantly. A bundle of chaos. Now, we didn't see Jowers come on. I'm not surprised. We didn't need him. We didn't see Simicast come on. To be fair, Robo didn't really have any threat. We didn't see Kwanzaa come on. To be fair, we didn't need him. We didn't see McConnell come on. And to be fair, I don't think he was needed. And we didn't really need Chiesa's finishing or control. But yeah, that's the match ratings. And they've given good old Arne Slot. They've given him a 9. And to be fair, he got everything pretty much spot on. We've had a torrid period just before because we had PSG, then we had Southampton, and we went a goal down, and he had to make changes probably earlier than he would have liked, and won the game. Then we had PSG again and got knocked out. We had Newcastle and got beaten. So there were nerves there. And then we had a lengthy break, so we couldn't really get back on the bandwagon and go straight away. We had to wait. And that Newcastle game was on the 16th of March, and that was how many days ago was that? When you think, I'll look on my calendar. Seven, 17 days. And they say here, this is Anfield. I've criticised them with the news and rumours, but here this is spot on. The points margin is superb, but it has to be maintained. Arsenal beat Fulham and put that points gap to 9. And I said in my preview, we had to win. And boy did we bloody do it. Slot is an intelligent man. He knew full well what Everton could yet have been a stumbling block, and the headlines would have been cruel. And they mentioned about his behaviour after the last derby and how he'd be under the spotlight a bit. And they said the matters weren't helped by pathetic officiating from the man in the middle. Pathetic officiating. How would I describe the referee in the VAR? in that game. Let me think. Absolutely bloody fucking diabolical dog shite. There you go. That's what I think of the refereeing. Utter bull. So there you go. That's my thoughts on how we performed. And if I was going to give the officials a rating out of 10, there you go. Complete, utter farce. They need to seriously look in the PGMOL, FA, Premier League, whatever, if that is the standard we are getting brought through. I mean, okay, he's a young ref. Paul Tierney is not inexperienced. Paul Tierney, fact up. There you go. Okay, thank you very much.